Salam Keluarga Malaysia. Hello and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mohana Priya and you're watching Updates at Noon. Making the headlines today, Sultan Nazrin consents to dissolution of State Assembly. Massacre at Mexico bar in state ravaged by violence. Sultan of Perak Sultan Nazrin Muizuddin Shah has consented to the dissolution of the 14th Perak State Legislative Assembly effective today. This was announced by Perak Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Sarani Muhammad in a media conference at Batang Padang District and Land Office today.
Maka sukacita, saya memaklumkan kepada media pada hari ini bahawa saya telah menerima warkah pengisytiharan daripada Duli Yang Maha Mulia Paduka Sri Sultan Perak Sultan Nazrin Muizuddin Shah Ibni Almarhum Sultan Azlan Muhibbuddin Shah Al-Maghfurlah yang membawa maksud bahawa baginda telah memberi perkenan Dewan Negeri Perak ke-14 dibubarkan berkuat kuasa mulai hari Isnin 17 Oktober 2022.
It was reported that on Wednesday, Datuk Seri Sarani had an audience with Sultan Nazrin Shah to seek his consent to dissolve the State Assembly and was told to meet the ruler again on Friday. According to the Menteri Besar, the application for the dissolution was in accordance with Clause 2, Article 36, Part 1 of the Constitution of the State of Perak. Perak has 59 state seats, of which 25 are held by Barisan Nasional, followed by DAP 15, Amanah 5, Bersatu 4, PAS 3, PKR 3, Parti Bangsa Malaysia 3 and Independent 1. Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa has called on certain quarters to stop political polemics over the dissolution of the Parliament, which he described as the right move to form a stable and strong government to face economic challenges next year. He said the 15th general election must be held soon to return the mandate to the people to elect a new government because the existing government is only a coalition to address the current situation. He said that although the current government is stable, it is not the government that received the people's mandate in the last general election.
Macam bab kata PM, tak perlu tangguh walaupun sesaat. Perlu segera balikkan semula pada rakyat. Kemudian bila rakyat yang tentukan. Tapi tetap matlamatnya perlukan sebuah kajian yang kuat dan stabil, barulah kemakmuran dapat diwujudkan.
Tan Sri Anwar said this after presenting devices under the Peranti Siswa Keluarga Malaysia program to students at the Langkawi Vocational College. PAS is always open to negotiating with UMNO if the party wants to establish cooperation in facing the 15th general election. Its Secretary General Datuk Sri Taqiyuddin Hassan said PAS never expressed the stance not to cooperate with UMNO.
Pernyataan Presiden PAS pun hanya mempereratkan lagi hubungan dalam PN, tetapi tidak pernah menyatakan tidak bekerjasama dengan UMNO. Kalau perhati betul-betul statement daripada Presiden PAS, tidak ada. Sebab apabila kita menyebutkan penyatuan ummah, you tidak boleh bermusuh. Walaupun tak boleh berkawan, jangan bermusuh. Kan? You tak boleh berkawan, jangan isytiharkan sebagai musuh. Itu tak boleh.
He was met after the closing ceremony of the Forestry 121 Peaks program at Taman Eco Rimba. Meanwhile, commenting on the use of the logo during the GE15, Datuk Sri Taqiyuddin said candidates, including others from PN who were contesting in the three PAS-governed states of Kelantan, Terengganu and Kedah, would use the PAS logo. The Education Service Disciplinary Board is scheduled to convene today after receiving a letter of representation submitted by mathematics teacher Muhammad Fadli Muhammad Saleh on 14th October. The teacher had posted on his Facebook page previously that he would be fired or demoted for voicing his views on the learning syllabus that he considered was of too high a level and inappropriate for students. In a video uploaded on the Education Ministry's Facebook page, Education Director General Datuk Pakaruddin Ghazali said the letter received by Muhammad Fadli did not mean that punishment had been handed down by the board.
Sebaliknya, surat tersebut bertujuan memaklumkan cikgu berkenaan mengenai dakwaan yang telah diterima oleh pihak berkuasa tata tertib serta keperluan untuk cikgu Fadli mengemukakan representasi ataupun penjelasan bertulis. Prosedur tata tertib ini dibuat di bawah peraturan-peraturan pegawai awam, kelakuan dan tata tertib 1993 dan ianya diguna pakai untuk semua penjawat awam yang sedang berkhidmat dan termasuklah diri saya sendiri.
Cikgu Fadli also highlighted other claims in his post, including the high number of students per class, the number of subjects, and the issue of heavy school bags that he said could be harmful for students' health. All producers have been urged to increase egg production for domestic consumption to ensure sufficient supply in the market. Following an inspection at supermarkets, Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Datuk Sri Alexander Nantalinggi acknowledged that the supply of eggs had decreased. He said the difficulty in obtaining the commodity was because of producers exporting grade A, B and C eggs abroad, thus reducing domestic supply.
Memang kita akui ada kekurangan keluaran telur yang kita kawal ni, grade A, B, C, ya. Tapi dengan kesempatan ini saya merayulah kepada pengeluar telur ni keluarlah telur yang lebih digunakan oleh orang-orang kita lah domestik, sebab kerajaan baru-baru ini telah meluluskan subsidi tambahan.
He added the subsidy given for breeders is also to ensure that the consumer price remains at the maximum price set by the government for grade A, B and C eggs. The minister said the producers should have integrity and live up to their responsibilities, as agreed in a series of talks after additional subsidies were given to them. On another note, Datuk Sri Alexander said the uptrend in sales thanks to the 2022 Buy Malaysian Products campaign, KBBM, has helped stimulate the domestic economy. He also said the rise in sales of local products over the past several years proved that the campaign was effective. He said KBBM had successfully helped change domestic consumer perception, which previously was quite skeptical about the quality of local products, adding Malaysians are now more confident and are able to accept local products.
Jumlah catatan jualan pada tahun lepas sahaja telah mencatatkan sebanyak 140 juta ringgit jumlah jualan dan 1.7 juta jumlah SKU ataupun stock keeping unit melalui marketplace, manakala rekod di berbagai rangkaian pasar raya besar, pasar raya, kedai sumber dan kedai sumber di stesen minyak telah mencapai jualan lebih 173,000 SKU dan nilai jualan keseluruhan bernilai 3.08 bilion.
He said the ministry was targeting a rise of 2.5% in KBBM sales this year, even with the various challenges posed by the inflation crisis and global economic turmoil. The minister was met after officiating the closing ceremony of the 2022 KBBM Craft Promotion Program, a strategic partnership between the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry and the Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry in Kuala Lumpur. Malaysia and the European Union, EU, have agreed to explore further cooperation under the Transport Ministry to develop sustainable aviation fuel, SAF. This included making the product more accessible and affordable to the aviation industry players in the future, in addition to promoting the carbon offsetting and reduction scheme agenda for international aviation, CORSIA. These matters were discussed during the bilateral meeting between the Malaysian delegation led by Transport Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong and the EU delegation led by the European Commission's Department for Mobility and Transport, Hendrik Hololei, at the 28th ASEAN Transport Ministers meeting in Bali, Indonesia. In a post on his Facebook account, Datuk Seri Dr. Wee said the two sides also discussed Malaysia-EU's future cooperation in transport and logistics and the possibility of working with the European companies already in Malaysia. According to him, the EU Commission is also invited to participate in the Langkawi International Maritime and Aerospace Exhibition in May next year. In a separate message, the minister also said during the 13th meeting of the ASEAN and Republic of Korea Senior Transport Officials meeting, South Korea reiterated its commitment to share experiences and best practices to improve the ASEAN transport system. He said this included other related activities under the ASEAN ROK Transport Cooperation Roadmap 2022-2025. Malaysia, he said, will continue to support closer coordination between ASEAN member countries and the ROK in implementing the roadmap. Coming up in our foreign segment, Phuket Old Town under meter-deep flood after overnight storm.
Hepatitis adalah penyakit keradangan hati akibat daripada jangkitan virus hepatitis. Hepatitis A yang berjangkit melalui pencemaran makanan dan air biasanya menyebabkan jangkitan hati yang akut dan tidak berpanjangan. Hepatitis B dan C pula berjangkit melalui darah yang tercemar. Antaranya adalah melalui perkongsian jarum suntikan, transfusi darah, hubungan seksual dan jangkitan ibu kepada anak. Berlainan daripada hepatitis A, hepatitis B dan C boleh menyebabkan kerosakan hati yang kronik dan bara hati. Kebanyakan pesakit hepatitis B dan C tidak mengalami tanda dan gejala pada peringkat awal. Tanda atau gejala seperti muntah darah, jaundice dan busung hanya akan muncul setelah penyakit hepatitis menjadi semakin kronik. Oleh itu, lakukan ujian saringan hepatitis jika anda berisiko tinggi untuk mendapat jangkitan dan dapatkan rawatan dengan segera jika perlu di klinik kesihatan terdekat. Bersama kita cegah hepatitis.
Gunmen opened fire in a bar in the central Mexican city of Irapuato on Saturday evening, shooting dead 6 women and 6 men. Local authorities said it was the second mass shooting in the state of Guanajuato in less than a month. 3 people were injured in the attack in the south of Irapuato, the city government said in a statement, adding that security officials were trying to track down the assailants. The motive behind the shooting was not immediately clear. An initial statement by the city had put the death toll at 11. Guanajuato, a major manufacturing hub and production site for many of the world's top car makers, has been convulsed in recent years by brutal turf wars between rival drug gangs. On 21st September, gunmen shot dead 10 people in an attack at a bar in the Guanajuato town of Tarimoro, about 96 kilometers southeast of Irapuato. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador took office in late 2018, pledging to reduce record levels of gang violence in Mexico. But he has struggled to contain the bloodletting. While homicides have fallen somewhat in 2022, the tally during Obrador's 6-year term is on track to be the highest in Mexico's modern history by a substantial margin. He has blamed corruption in past governments for fueling the lawlessness. A Palestinian man who was shot by Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank on Saturday night has died of his wounds, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health. Ministry officials said on Sunday that 3 others were wounded in the Israeli firing. Palestinian Wafa news agency, quoting medical sources, identified the slain man as Mujahid Ahmad Dawood, a 31-year-old Palestinian from the town of Karawet, Bani Hassan. Dawood was rushed to Istishari Hospital in Ramallah, where efforts to save his life failed. The Israeli military claimed Palestinians had started a riot near Karawet, Bani Hassan on Saturday, and soldiers who had been operating there opened fire. The incident follows months of tension that have deepened since Israel began a crackdown in the West Bank in March. Israeli occupation forces have been carrying out near-daily raids in recent months, largely focused on the towns of Jenin and Nablus in the West Bank, where a new wave of Palestinian armed resistance is emerging. Since the beginning of the year, at least 160 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, including 51 Palestinians during Israel's 3-day assault on Gaza in August. Heavy overnight rain left Phuket Old Town under floodwaters up to 1 metre deep and traffic chaos on Sunday. A monsoon downpour that began on Saturday evening was still battering the tourism destination in the early hours of Sunday, causing flash floods to sweep across many parts of the island. Among buildings submerged were the old town's traditional Sino-Portuguese shophouses, a magnet for Thai and foreign tourists. Floods hit the Charter Bank intersection, the Tep Kasatri Talang intersection, Klang Road, and the Clock Tower roundabout. Phuket Old Town roads were submerged by floodwater up to 1 metre deep. Roads in the Patong Beach area in Kratu district were also underwater, while flash flooding cut the main road leading from Kratu's Tambon Kamala to downtown Phuket. Thailand's National Water Command Centre, NWCC, is also keeping a close eye on 24 dams nationwide, as heavy rain has brought their reservoirs close to the brimming point. The NWCC explained that the 24 dams had also exceeded their capacity due to heavy rain triggered by tropical storms and the monsoon season. It added that 34 provinces in Thailand are still flooded. Now, thousands of people took to the streets of Paris on Sunday to protest against soaring prices as weeks of strikes for higher wages at oil refineries spurred demands for a general strike. The leader of hard-left party La France Insoumise, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, marched alongside this year's Nobel Prize winner for literature, Annie Ernaux. Mélenchon followed the footsteps of 4 unions, but not France's biggest, the moderate CFDT, which have called for strikes and protests on Tuesday for wage increases. The 4 unions also called the protests to help protect the right to strike, after the government ordered the requisitioning of some oil refinery workers, a move seen by unions as a violation of their constitutional rights. The march followed a call by the NUPES parliamentary coalition, which hopes to turn the page on domestic violence accusations that have recently dogged senior members. Budget Minister Gabriel Attal said the left-wing coalition was attempting to exploit the current situation, marked by ongoing strikes at French utility EDF's nuclear plants and at French oil refineries. Coming up in sports, Rinse triumphs in Australia as Benaya takes a championship lead.
Hepatitis adalah penyakit keradangan hati akibat daripada jangkitan virus hepatitis. Hepatitis A yang berjangkit melalui pencemaran makanan dan air biasanya menyebabkan jangkitan hati yang akut dan tidak berpanjangan. Hepatitis B dan C pula berjangkit melalui darah yang tercemar. Antaranya adalah melalui perkongsian jarum suntikan, transfusi darah, hubungan seksual dan jangkitan ibu kepada anak. Berlainan daripada hepatitis A, hepatitis B dan C boleh menyebabkan kerosakan hati yang kronik dan bara hati. Kebanyakan pesakit hepatitis B dan C tidak mengalami tanda dan gejala pada peringkat awal. Tanda atau gejala seperti muntah darah, jaundice dan busung hanya akan muncul setelah penyakit hepatitis menjadi semakin kronik. Oleh itu, lakukan ujian saringan hepatitis jika anda berisiko tinggi untuk mendapat jangkitan dan dapatkan rawatan dengan segera jika perlu di klinik kesihatan terdekat. Bersama kita cegah hepatitis.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has congratulated Team Hak E-Sport Club for winning the Mobile Legends Professional League Malaysia Season 10. Team Hak beat the defending champions Todak 4-2 on their way to claim the title. In a post on Facebook, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the success was proof that the country possessed a young talent that needed to be supported and polished to make the country proud on the international stage. The Prime Minister said the team Haq will bring the Jalu Gemilang to represent Malaysia with the Todak team to the Mobile Legends M4 World Championship, which will take place in Jakarta, Indonesia in 2023. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri also said that it had been proven that the country's young talents in esports are getting better. Hopefully, the Prime Minister said, the competition at the world level will further highlight their talent. Now, there is a change to the Stage 7 route of the Litua di Langkawi LTDL from Kuah to the top of Gunung Raya due to bad weather. A statement by the LTDL organizer, Human Voyage, said Race Commissioner Wayne Pomario agreed for the 90.8-kilometre Stage 7 to be replaced with Stage 8 route involving the Langkawi Loop. It said following a meeting with the local authorities, including the Public Works Department JKR, Langkawi District Office and Langkawi District Traffic Security Committee decided that the Stage 7 finish atop Gunung Raya be cancelled for fear of the safety of the riders, teams and public. The cancellation is following the incidents of landslides at 4 locations in Gunung Raya. The original route of Stage 7 had 3 sprint zones in Pelabuhan Telaga, Teluk U and Kuah before heading to the Category 3 climb zone in Lebuh Langkawi and the Category 1 climb to Gunung Raya. Suzuki's Alex Rins won a classic Australian MotoGP Grand Prix at Phillip Island on Sunday as Ducati's Francesco Bagnaia roared to the top of the World Championship standings with a third-place finish after defending champion Fabio Quartararo crashed out. Rins, who will join Honda's satellite outfit LCR Honda in 2023, took the lead from Bagnaia in the final lap and crossed the finish line ahead of 6 times MotoGP champion Marc Marquez, who grabbed his 100th podium as Premier Class motorcycle racing returned to the seaside circuit for the first time since 2019. Yamaha's Quartararo went wide at turn 4 early in the race to drop to 22nd place before crashing out after another mistake to cede the championship lead to Bagnaia, whose victory charge was ended in dramatic circumstances by the top 2 late on. Bagnaia holds a 14-point lead over Quartararo heading into the penultimate round in Malaysia next week. It was heartbreak for local favourite Jack Miller as his slim title hopes were crushed after a fall following contact by Honda's Alex Marquez. Marquez had crashed in the warm-up as rain played havoc ahead of the race, but the Spaniard had no problems in better conditions and celebrated his first podium finish since last year's Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Qatar on Sunday revealed that more than 1.5 million people have applied for the compulsory pass for the Football World Cup that begins on 20th November. Saad Al-Suwaidi, head of the Haya Pass service, said that between 1.5 million and 1.7 million people have so far applied for the card that acts as a visa, match ticket, transport ticket and gives access to some fan zones.
So let's say it is an opportunity for you to bring your own guests. So if you are an international fan, let's say, you have the opportunity to come and bring three guests with you. As simple as that.
All travellers to Qatar will need the pass to enter from 1st November, whether they intend to watch a game or not. Qatar has said it expects more than 1 million foreign visitors, as well as hundreds of thousands of domestic fans. International supporters have to apply for the pass after buying tickets and securing accommodation. Officials said Doha's 2 international airports are preparing to handle 150,000 entries a day. Those crossing by land from Saudi Arabia must take a bus to Doha or pay a $1,375 fee to drive their own car. Officials say border officials at the Abu Samra land crossing will be able to process 4,000 people an hour. England's Reece James will miss the World Cup in Qatar starting next month after his Premier League club Chelsea said that he will be sidelined for 8 weeks due to a knee injury. James, 22, sustained the injury late in the second half of last Tuesday's 2-0 victory at AC Milan in the Champions League and was withdrawn after receiving medical treatment on the pitch. The news is a blow for England manager Gareth Southgate, with Kyle Walker also sidelined after having groin surgery this month, with the Manchester City right back in a race against time to be fit for the World Cup. Right back Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was dropped from the England side for the September internationals, is also sidelined with an ankle injury. Now, the World Cup begins on 20th November, with England starting their group campaign a day later against Iran. James, who has also played in a back three for Chelsea, will miss key games for the London side, who are set to play 9 more times before the World Cup, starting with Sunday's league trip to Aston Villa. James will miss key Premier League games against Manchester United and Arsenal, as well as Manchester City in the League Cup, before the season pauses for the World Cup and resumes in late December when Chelsea host Bournemouth on 26 December. Andrei Rublev defeated Sebastian Korda in straight sets in Sunday's Gijón Open final to land his 12th ATP Tour title. Now, the Russian had already prevailed in Belgrade, Dubai and Marseille this year and added another crown to his collection with a 6-2, 6-3 victory against Korda in 75 minutes. Top seed Rublev had dropped only 1 set in his 3 matches en route to the final and impressed against Korda with 29 winners, 3 breaks and just 4 unforced errors. Rublev also defeated Ilya Ivashka, Tommy Paul and Dominic Thiem as he marched to the title in northern Spain. Korda, seeking a second tour-level trophy following success in Parma last year, had his serve broken in the 4th and 8th games of the opening set. Some heavy-hitting exchanges kept spectators gripped, though Rublev proved too strong for Korda in the second set and earned the only break in the 6th game. World number 9 Rublev was in good form and made light work of his 22-year-old American opponent as he got over the line with his 4-match point and remains 6th in the chase for an ATP Finals spot, with 4 of those ahead of him already qualified along with Novak Djokovic. And in Italy, Canada's Felix Auger-Aliassime beat JJ Wolf of the United States 6-4, 6-4 in the final of the Firenze Open to win his 2nd career ATP title. Auger-Aliassime fired 11 aces, the last of which he won the 1-hour 41-minute match with. Auger-Aliassime, the top seed in the tournament, also won 85% of his first serve points. The victory was an important one for the Montreal native as he looked to qualify for the Nitto ATP Finals, which will be held in Torino, Italy. The year-end event, which features the world's best 8 qualified singles players and doubles teams, is played in a round-robin format with the best 4 players and doubles teams reaching the knockout semi-final stages. With the victory, Auger-Aliassime moved 180 points past American Taylor Fritz for 7th in the Pepperstone ATP Live Race to Turin. After receiving a bye into the second round, Auger-Aliassime defeated Oscar Otte, Brandon Nakashima and Lorenzo Musetti en route to the title match. His win over Otte was his lone victory that went further than 2 sets. The 22-year-old, currently ranked 13 in the world, is set to move into number 10 today following his title win. Auger-Aliassime has also won the Rotterdam Open in February. And that concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. In our top story today, Sultan Nazrin consents to dissolution of Perak State Assembly. Now we leave you with visuals of Xpeng's eVTOL flying car X2, which made its first public flying in Dubai, marking a new era of modern and intelligent transportation. Take a look. I'm Mohana Priya. Stay tuned to TV2. Thank you for your company.